Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live in full effect with none other than MC Freeze of the 909 Boys, now known as E. How you doing this evening?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Pretty proud, you know.
Hey man, you are most certainly welcome. I first and foremost have to say, I've been a huge fan of the 909 Boys for quite some time, so just thank you for taking some time out of your evening to come on the radio station.
Appreciate it, much love.
So I gotta ask you, Freeze, what made you decide to get into the music industry to begin with?
It's ironic you say that. It started off back in my elementary school days. I never forget this. I didn't do my homework one day for school, and so they were doing an extra credit. And the only thing I knew how to do was kind of rap, here and there, here and there. So I had to go in front of the classroom, and I had some of my buddies in the background beating on the desk and using their little pencils and tapping on the desk and making little beats. And I would just come off the head and just talk about everybody in the classroom, teacher, and, so I guess not doing homework kind of paid off a little bit on that one.
Hey, most definitely. It's not every day, not doing your homework, actually starts off an amazing music career, man. So, but I want to say I encourage every young kid that's listening, make sure you do your homework, though.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So,
But as we all know, you are a member of the 909 Boys, and you're also the founder of the group as well. I have to ask you, how did you and the other members get connected? What's the story behind the formation of that iconic group?
well, basically we all sandbox basically grew up in Banning, California, on the east side, and just one day I was riding around, and my boy CLO, he was walking the street, and I just put him in the car, and we just got to chopping it up back and forth about music, and and we went to his house and sat down, and we kind of exchanged lyrics, and we just came up with the 909 Boys, and so initially it just started off with me and CLO, and then the other two members, O Dog and rest in peace, Roger Serious, they were at it on, I'd say probably within like a week's time, and then from there, we were doing it for fun. We never had intentions on it blowing up the way that it did. We were just really doing it for fun. And, just one day we came up with a song, and, it just took us to a whole nother level.
And that's most definitely true, man. I gotta say, down here in Canada, we got love for the 909 Boys. I actually still have your Royal Flush record, man. I absolutely love that record. I really do think that, in my personal opinion, it's in my top 10 favorite hip hop records of all time.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
And one thing I do gotta ask, speaking of the Royal Flush, it's actually on my list of questions. In the year 2000, the 909 Boys released the album Royal Flush. I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that amazing record, and how did it come to be?
Well, of course, we started off as the 909 Boys, and then I came up with the label Focus Seduction. So it kind of everything kind of revolved around the game of poker. So of course, with Focus Seduction record label, we decided that the first album would be called Royal Flush. As in the game, the card game. And then came, like the rolling with a full deck, and everything just kind of revolved around the game of poker, and the strategy of poker, of the poker game itself, and the bluffing, and, just, it just took off. It just took off, and we just never thought it would end, it would end like this.
And also, 3 years before that, in '97, you guys actually released your self-titled album. And one thing I've always noticed is back then that record only got released on cassette, and it wasn't on CD or anything else. What made you guys decide to only do the cassette release?
Oh, that's was, and and uh, our song, the song that we initially thought was going to take off, it wasn't the song that took off. It was a song that we kind of put together, and which was called Sorry Saeed. We didn't think that song was a song for us. We were really counting on Another 24 was our hit. And of course people liked it, but for some reason, I guess because we were from the IE, Inland Empire, 909, 951, everybody just grasped to Sorry Saeed, and next thing you know, we were on the radio, and people would flag us down on the streets and want to take pictures and autographs, and it just hit us all at once, and we just we're kind of like at awe.
And that's most definitely true. It's by the sounds of it, you guys were just making music for fun, and then you guys became phenomenons within your community, man. It must have been a surreal feeling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like you said, it was all in fun, and and the ironic part about it is we started, me and CLO, we started making these cassettes. Remember the old Memorex and CDK cassettes? We would go to Thrifties. It was Thrifties back then.
The
We
good
would go
old
to
days.
Thrifties and Radio Shack, and we would buy the Memorex, and he had a karaoke machine. And, we weren't even going to a real studio. We would go to my house, and we would record on one cassette, and then we would put the cassette on the other side, and I guess that would be the same as doubling up your voice, or doing ad libs, and we would just keep flipping the cassette over and over and over again until finally we got it right, and next thing you know, we ran into our producer, Curtis J.B. Watts out of San Bernardino, and from one stepping stone to another stepping stone, he was already in the music industry, and he blessed us with some nice music, and from there it just took off.
And speaking of taking off, the one thing I've always loved about going back to the Royal Flush there for a minute, I noticed that the Royal Flush actually has the Royal Flush 2 the remix. I have to ask you, what made you guys decide to make a remix of like one of your guys' biggest records?
Well, outside of Royal Flush, what we did is we wanted to be a little different than everybody else, and we wanted to kind of have our music for the full audience. So what we did is we made two albums. So we have the regular 909 Boy CD, and then we have the remix CD. Well, on the remix CD, what we did is we changed all of the tracks, and then what we did is we went back and then we made all of the songs clean version, because I couldn't play the dirty version to my mom, or to him, or what I'm saying, to the church people, and or to the kids. So we decided just to make remixes to every single song. So the initial 909 Boy CD, Royal Flush, I think it had like 12, 13 songs, and we went back into the studio and we made 13 remixes. So we have a whole remix CD that there's no profanity at all on the whole CD.
And that's not bad as well. It's also good for radio versions as well, if anybody wants to pick it up on like the FM, AM dials as well. And also, in like 2004, you were featured on J2B's record called 20 Degrees Cooler in the Shade. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with J2B? And of course, what was it like working with him?
Well, like I said before, we met J2B right around 2000, and his music, he worked with us, and and like I said, we were just guys, on the streets, just taking people's instrumentals, and we had a karaoke machine. We had never been to a real studio, So once we got with J2B, he actually invited us in his house, and he showed us the mixing board, the MP3, and the keyboards, and it they're kind of mesmerized with everything, and we just had that certain bond with J-B. We were super comfortable, and once we felt each other as far as we kind of knew with each individual in the group what they wanted, what they needed, how to perfect their sound, and it was just like it was just meant to be. It was just meant to be. So when he came with 20 degrees, cooler, then he asked, me and CLO to get on, from a couple of the songs, and of course, with no problem.
And also, yourself and C-Loke actually formed a rap duo called Double Trouble. I have to ask you, like, what made you guys decide to start a rap duo?
Well, you know, uh, we were still hungry. I guess you could say we were still hungry, and not that the other two guys weren't hungry. When you start going different, going through different stages in life, you kind of get used to it, and there's nothing wrong with it, But we were just still, music hungry, and we decided to put the group, Double Trouble together, and like I said, we got right back together, and we we hooked back up with J-B, and then we had a couple of other people uh, get on some of the songs, and I think we put that Double Trouble Rated PG, the title of the CD. I think we put that CD together. I would say maybe in a couple of months. The whole CD was completely done. We had live instruments, on a few songs. So, we had a host of different artists, help us out. So, I'm pretty proud of that CD. It didn't take off the way that I thought it would take off, and I don't know why, but it didn't take off the way I thought it would take off.
And I do want to say with that record, that record is absolutely phenomenal from track one all the way to the end. I have to say, I'm surprised as well it didn't take off as well as it did because only a couple months recording it. I gotta say that's actually a phenomenal record.
CLO, I really take my hat off to him because he really, really stuck to, grinding and going in and out of the studios, making a million different tracks, and the floodgates just open for him to go with, and connect with different artists, and he's probably got 3 or 4 CDs under his belt. With me, my first love is cars, and I kind of veered off, and I kind of left the music industry, and veered off and started messing around restoring cars. So, not to say that I'm not in music anymore. I have rest in peace, my sister. She just passed away about a couple of months ago, and I had a full CD that I helped her put together, and she never got a chance to put the CD out. So before it's all said and done, I want to actually put a CD out, and I have a couple of other artists. I have another female artist out of Atlanta that up and coming, and I'm working with her on a project right now. So. I'm staying pretty connected, with the music, and for myself, I have 3 CDs ready to go, but, I have, a couple of kids, and one of them, they're doing filming, and I'm waiting for him to get through, and I want him to do some of the videos, for some of my songs.
And the one thing also, speaking of new records that's coming out, I was talking to C-Loke, and he was telling me that you guys actually have a future Double Trouble record that you guys are putting together. I have to ask you, what can our listeners expect from that particular record? And do you guys currently have an estimated release date for that one?
Well, we did a full 360, with the 909 Boyz music. I can feel it was kind of commercial, but at the same time, we tried to slide in a couple of, I guess you would call it, food songs. And for the most part, it kind of worked for us. And then, then came then came the Double Trouble CD, and so we kind of got away from the commercial. We didn't care anymore about being played on the radio or somebody picked us up. It had to be a clean song. We just, what, we're just doing it for fun. And we between both of us, we know a lot of people in the streets that would buy the CD. So now, we're working on some new stuff, and as far as listeners, I mean, we're West Coast. I understand, the East is the East, the West is the West, down South is down South, and we try to appeal to everybody. Of course, everybody doesn't like everybody's stuff, but we're just not going to change. We're just going to stay West Coast underground, and whatever happens after that happens.
And that is most definitely true. That's the best way to look at it. You know what I mean? You guys just do you, and
Right.
Make sure you're satisfied with your own music.
Right. And that's what we intend to do. I'm 50 plus right now, so as far as me getting out here and trying to go on tour and get on the stage and everything, I really don't care about any of that. I just want to make cool music where people can listen to it in their cars and cruise, or if they want to sit back in the garage and roll one and just kick back. That's my music. That's my music. So it's going to be a little variety. You know what I'm saying? There won't be any dance music on it, of course. So it's basically just, I guess you could call it hood music.
And the one thing that I was always wondering when it came to you, as we already know, you're originally called MC Freeze. I have to ask you, but what made you decide to change your name to E?
Well, I guess you could say it's a character form. With MC Freeze, I'm more of the, I guess you'd say the commercial guy. It's MC Freeze. MC Freeze, I'm the commercial guy. Even though some people kind of know me, streets and hood and stuff, but I just didn't want to drag that in. I wanted to start all over, with just E. So I wouldn't have to, try to gain recognition off the MC Freeze. Even though most of the people know me as MC Freeze, I just want to be known as E from here on out. I'm the same person, but I'm not the same person.
But I do have to ask you, what is next for you, other than your new artists, your 3 records that that are coming out soon? Is there anything else you want to promote? Anything else you want to let our live listeners know? Will we still have you here live on the radio station?
Well, I'm connected with a few different people, and I don't have any social media. That's the one thing that everybody says, hey, get on social media, get your page and promote and blah blah blah. It's like, I really do have to sit down and put that all together, because there's so many people that saying, hey, we're gonna put the music out, and and let me listen to some of the music that you got coming out, and so I guess just by me saying all of that, I like I said, I've got those 3 CDs. Coming up, I can't even put a date on anything. I'm gonna sneak some of the songs on CLO page, and I'll let some of my circles, kind of sneak a little bit here, there, and and if it's looking pretty good, well, people are adapting, and they really want to hear me, or or see me really come out with another CD or something, which I'm gonna do it anyway. They have to, they have to let it be known, hey, yeah, go ahead, let's let it on out. But in the meantime, I'm, like I said, I'm going to work on these couple of projects that I have, and I'm just going to let nature take its course.
And I gotta say, MC Freeze, I gotta say thank you so much again for coming on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM. It truthfully was an honor and most definitely a privilege, and I hope when your new records come out, you know what I mean, we most definitely can do this again.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and like I said, as soon as I get new stuff from, my new artists, I'll definitely be able to get in contact with you, and, we can go ahead and stay in contact and just go from there.
Most definitely. You have my number, so you need anything promotion-wise, airplay, don't hesitate to reach out. I got you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful night.
You too.